So Rudolf, in the case that an NFT is deemed a security, what are the NFT marketplace's obligations? And I would specifically like to look at, say, a crowdfunding platform such as Kickstarter, who are looking at introducing NFTs. So your case for the sort of tokenization of NFTs and sharding, if we can look at that and what those platforms' obligations are.
I mean, that question again depends very much on where the marketplace is based, which in itself, of course, in the metaverse is a very difficult question. Generally, in financial services, regulators tend to assume that service providers are actively targeting customers, and so they tend to look more at where the customer base is than where the service provider is located. But when you get to exchange regulation, the underlying assumption is that the customers are coming to the marketplace. And so the default is that the regulation in the country where the company running the marketplace operates applies, which gives operators some flexibility in terms of where they want to set up shop. If you assume that the NFT is a security, the marketplace is in the EU, and it then qualifies as a multilateral trading facility or organized trading facility, then you suddenly, under the relevant EU directive, have a long list of requirements, starting from the licensing requirement that Diego was referring to minimum capitalization requirements, qualification requirements for management, transparent rules, how orders are executed, prices are set, and many others. Of course, because of the rapid technological development, the lines have blurred quite a bit, even outside the crypto space, and where brokerage ends and where running a trading facility begins is increasingly difficult to say. A number of places have created regulatory sandboxes for the crypto world in an attempt to have an eye on the space without regulating it to death and have it flee to other jurisdictions. And so I guess regulators are trying to take a reasonable approach and tend to just look at it as financial services, but with a potentially lighter regime. But I think ultimately, when you run a marketplace, you will have to watch the regulation in the relevant jurisdictions. But depending on how strict that regulation is, you may not want to stop there, because finding the place with the lightest possible regulation and can still find jurisdictions where there is no regulation, that makes compliance easy. But being regulated can also be like a badge of honor, which may differentiate you from the competition. So as decentralized as this space is, I think there will be some consolidation sooner or later, because the marketplaces that have a higher trading volume are likely to be more attractive to investors. And I think the survivors that will capture most of that market will not be the ones that try and stay below the regulatory radar entirely, but ones that, in addition to getting the technology right, which will always be key, also find the right equilibrium between manageable regulatory requirements and trustworthy structures that also make institutional investors comfortable. And I think ultimately, currently the retail space is very important in the crypto world, but I think we're seeing a change here, getting to structures that are that also work for institutional investors.